System malfunction.
Rich people do one thing different than middle-class people or poor people. And it's not how much money is in their bank account or even how much money is in their pocket or how they spend it.
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize it. I always get Americans tell me, oh, but people in Mexico only make $20 a day. You can get a full meal here for $2.
System malfunction.
People think that the primary thing they should look at when they borrow money is an interest rate. But an interest rate is often a distraction. It's not always a distraction, but it's often a distraction. Like, how many of you have ever gotten an invitation in your mortgage to refinance your house, right? And you can get a lower payment, right? And a lower interest rate. Well, why are they giving you, ask yourself the question, why are they giving you a lower payment and a lower interest rate? Here's why. Because they know something you don't know. They understand the game. See, if you don't understand the money game, then you have to work on the board as one of the pieces for the people who understand how to play the game.
System malfunction.
I'm trying to take it as high as it go. I've been by the code, you know how I be. I am a product of putting my curses to rest on my family tree. Can see growth. They tell me they free, but they work for the man. I can't relate, I did it on my own. Look how we grow out the concrete, 2 rows stuck by that code.
System malfunction.
What is happening, YouTube? It's Download Malfunction. This is the space where we highlight the madness and the dysfunction that takes place in our society. You know, I was searching around social media per usual and ended up on TikToxic, and I found some optimism, or might I say a few diamonds in the rough amongst a cesspool of madness that I wanted to share with you all. And as you know, I always say sharing is caring. But before we dig into it, you know what it is. If you can please reach out and extend a virtual handshake by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell, as that would let YouTube know that the algorithm is ripe and blast it out to more folks who need to hear this message. And more importantly, I appreciate you and I thank you for stopping by, as that makes my gratitude extremely high. And as you already know, the purpose of Download Malfunction is to provide insights to the masses so that they may forge a better path forward and move more strategically amidst the system full of trickery that is designed to subjugate and extract from them. I expect that this post won't be too long and that a lot of commentary wouldn't be needed, because the clips that I've pulled together to share with you elucidate exactly my sentiment around this point. And like I said, I think it's extremely important that we all support one another as people, and that's why I've decided to share this message with you, because I strongly believe that this is highly beneficial. Oh, and I almost forgot, just as a reminder, on April 16th at 8 p.m., Download Malfunction is gonna have the very first episode 1 of the live show. The topic that we're gonna be discussing on that show is this idea of what it means to be an American. And just so you could never say that I've never given anything or offered anything to you, I am sending out an invitation right now to any and all who would like to come up and share their perspective. It would be awesome and extremely productive to have a medley of folks on the panel from different backgrounds and different viewpoints to be able to come up and share your perspective on what it means to be an American. And all I ask, which may be a lot in this modern world, is for you to be brutally honest. And I thank you in advance for that. Now, let's get on with it. So the pieces that I've brought together in this compilation, and there's just a few, but I think these are coaching moments. So out of the 3 clips, there are 2 people, an older gentleman and an older lady, who are both very well seasoned, and I would imagine that they've been around the block a few times and learned a few things in their lives. They both break down how we should be utilizing or looking at finances, or understanding the value of the dollar and making sure that you're making the right moves to make sure every dollar that you spend turns into some sort of capitalizing mechanism so that you can bring more of those dollars in. And then the younger gentleman, who I believe lives in Mexico, he is drawing a comparison between the Americans' ideology of wealth versus Mexico and other countries. And he breaks down the cost of living in America, where it should be evident that we are living under a clear download malfunction.
System malfunction.
By the way, my name is Leslie. I did not come up with this concept, but like most things that I've learned on my journey, someone else did, and I've learned to embrace it. So the number one thing that rich people do is they see the function of money for what it actually is. Let me give you an example. So poor people think that money is to pay off their bills and to keep themselves out of debt. They work for someone Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And this is sort of a great way to scrape by in life. Now, middle class people, they believe that money is to build your credit and that they just get bigger and bigger loans from bigger institutions that they will pay off over time. These are the people that get so excited about the credit score of 800, like, woohoo, so that they can buy bigger houses and bigger cars or whatever. This is not the function of rich people. On the other hand, understand that the function of money is expansion. You should use your money to make more money. Instead of buying more things that people don't really need, they expect every single dollar they make to earn them more money. Every single dollar they have is like a little tiny soldier that's going out there and making them more money or getting them more land or more territory. And they're like little worker warriors, you know? I mean, they're like, bring that money home to mama. And for all those gents out there, bring it home to daddy. And only when you start to see money for what it actually is, a method of expansion, because let's face it, folks, the universe is expanding. Fact. You are part of the universe. Fact. Your money is an energy that you brought into your experience. Fact. And therefore, in order for your money to be the happiest money possible, it needs to be doing what you need to be doing, which is what the universe is doing, which is expanding. And when you see money as a vehicle for your own expansion, then the opportunities for you to make more money or expand just start presenting themselves for you to take. And if you're ready to start expanding, then start right here by giving me a follow.
I mean, I'm not rich, but I'm going to take her assessment at face value. I'm going to take a guess that at her ripe age, she either is rich, she has friends that are rich, or she hangs around a bunch of people that are rich, so she is able to understand exactly how they utilize their money. And as she said, rich people see the function of money for what it actually is. I don't think the vast majority of us think that way. I mean, if I was to look at my anecdotal experience and try and extrapolate that out to the folks that came up in my generation, I think the vast majority of us have the poor mindset where all this material stuff was extremely important to us. Well, at least I know it was for me. I always wanted and had a really nice car. There was always a high affinity for nice clothes and really cool shoes, and I made sure that I had that. But if I had to go back in history and make a decision on whether or not to do that the same way, my answer would be definitely not. But the cool thing is that as I started getting older, like into my early and mid 30s, my mindset changed in terms of how I saw my future and the steps that I needed to take to make sure that I had something at the very end of my life. And all of this knowledge came from older gentlemen, once again, who have been around the block a few times. They've made those mistakes, and they would sit down over a cup of coffee or a round of golf and help me make sure that I lined out my path in a more successful route. And the craziest thing, when she talked about the importance of the credit score for those that are in the middle class, I also find that very, very true because that was extremely important to me when I was in that stratified class. So what I gather from the foundation of her argument is that we probably shouldn't be putting that much importance on material stuff, and more so finding ways to invest our money to make sure that we can have a nice return on every single dollar that we spend. Ultimately, make your money work for you.
System malfunction.
And the banks understand how to play the game. So they'll send you a letter saying, we're going to give you a lower interest rate and you'll have a lower monthly payment on your mortgage. But the reason they're going to do that is because if you do that, you got, say, 13 years left on your mortgage. Now you have to start a whole new 30-year mortgage, and the first 10 years of your mortgage, most of the money you pay goes to interest. So even though you're paying a lower interest rate when you refinance your house and get a lower payment, even though you're paying a lower interest rate, you're paying more in interest than if you had kept the higher interest rate with the higher payment. They know you don't know that. They don't tell you that part of it. It's in the paperwork, but they don't tell you that part because they know they've already distracted you by making you think the interest rate is the most important thing. Now, what would be better for a person to do than that? Let's say you understand the money game. What would be better would be to get a home equity line of credit for the equity that you have and put that home equity line of credit in the first position if you can. Make your mortgage a home equity line of credit. And then every time you get paid, deposit your check into your mortgage balance and then use the checkbook that comes with your home equity line of credit to pay your bills. You'll pay off your mortgage probably in 3 to 7 years if you do it that way. Like making the exact same amount of money you make right now, you'll pay off your mortgage in 3 to 7 years, 12 at the outside.
Again, another seasoned perspective to listen to. He's basically reiterating the same thing the lady in the first clip was saying, but he's giving you specifics around mortgages and if you own a home. And all of us know, those who own mortgages or who have had mortgages in the past, you get a letter every week or every other week with an offer to lower your mortgage or your interest rate. But once you start digging into the fine print, that loan time period has now been extended for more years, which once again, as I've said in previous videos, you become a debt slave for an extended period of time. There's a video that I recently posted called "We Are All Slaves to the Empire," where I highlighted the trickery and the overall design of the system we're forced to live under. So I would say this is great advice, something to listen to, and I would do some research on if this is the most efficient path forward in terms of paying off your house. Because as we all know, a mortgage or home ownership is one of the largest debts that one could ever have. But at the same time, it works in your favor and provides a benefit as it relates to the financial future. If and only if you understand how the game is played and you don't find yourself in one of the traps that are always set for you at every corner you turn. I'm just saying, I've always been told pay attention to your elders and follow their direction. And I think these are two examples that you might want to consider and take a long, hard listen to.
System
I can
malfunction.
go to the market right now and buy 3 kilos of mangoes for like $2. Yeah, people make less money here, but the cost of living is also lower. Americans think that everywhere is like the US. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything. And half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. Slaving away your whole life just to be retired for a measly 10 years. At least here in Mexico, we own our things. We own our houses. We own our cars. We're not in debt. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Let me know what you guys think.
System malfunction.
As I say, just look at your objective reality while existing in the United States. It's the rat race. You're just another hamster on a wheel or a pawn on a chessboard in order to make money for those at the very top of the pyramid. And the way that I see it, the reality is that this is just modern day indentured servitude. There's a reason why a lot of the folks who are about to retire are making plans to flee this place. And ironically, a lot of them are trying to settle down in places like Mexico because they realize that if they stay here, the vast majority of their retirement money will be eaten up. And God forbid someone gets sick, because the legal drug lords, that is the pharmaceutical industry, is gonna make sure they swipe all that money from underneath you, because the cost of these drugs, just to keep yourself alive, is astronomical. Hey, what do I know? I'm just here to share with you all what I think might be important and might be able to change the trajectory of your life by changing the way you see it. Leave a comment down in the comment section, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, on April 16th, that's a Tuesday at 8 p.m., we're gonna have the first live episode around the topic of what does it mean to be an American? And the forum will be open for anybody to join. I'll make sure that the link will be down in the chat for you to come up and share your perspective. And if you wanna get an early spot, just send me an email to downloadmalfunction@gmail.com, and I'll shoot you over the guest link so that you can be a part of the discussion. And I would suggest that you pay attention to these last few clips because I believe there's some rich information in there. And if not, you can continue to stumble through life with your broke ass.
System malfunction.
I'm tryna take it as high as it go. I've been by the code, you know how I be. I am a product of putting my curses to rest on my family tree. Can see growth. They tell me they free, but they work for the man. I can't relate, I did it on my own. Look how we grow out the concrete to a road.